It's time for a good old-fashioned rant.
Till I'm victorious, and I will defend, I will defend.
What is going on? No, I won't give in. Great, of course, is always here for the Squared Circle podcast on Spreaker.com, iTunes, Player.fm, PodDirectory.com, Stitcher.com, TuneIn Radio, IW Nerd, as well as Satchel Podcast Player, and Mr. NTG on YouTube. Mr. NTG 1990 on YouTube. So, this is going to be a very special edition of the Squared Circle podcast in which it's going to be a little bit more of a, as I just said, a little bit more of a rant. Because there's a lot of things that are going on in the wrestling world today that I am just sick and tired of. And it just needs to be addressed. I need to get out of my system. So for those of you that are looking forward to one of those, fun-filled family edition, it's not going to be that one. I'm spitballing. I'm probably going to be shooting my mouth off. So at least try to enjoy it a little bit. All right. So what's one of the things that are bothering me the most? Oh, well, let's start with the obvious, that being Roman Reigns. So, ever since Roman Reigns broke off with the Shield, and he's been on a bit of a single tear, there's been a lot of things that kind of annoyed me about him, and other things that have kind of just, I've enjoyed. The thing is that this year has been kind of a metamorphosis for Roman Reigns, because at the start of the year, nobody really liked him. He won the WWE title for a third time at WrestleMania, and then he had matches with AJ Styles. And this really showed that he was getting better in the ring. That was good. Now, his mic skills were not exactly there yet, but then he got suspended for violating the wellness policy. He took some time off, and then he went out publicly and he did. What exactly that was, I don't know. And nobody else really seems to know yet. They didn't know if it was because of a prescription drug that WWE didn't approve, or if it was maybe some other kind of violation, but nobody knew what exactly happened. So he got by losing the triple threat match at Battleground. Then he went on to a very forgettable feud with Rusev for the United States Championship. And now he's in line for the Universal Championship match at Roadblock, the end of the line. I'm actually okay with this because, in all honesty, Roman Reigns has definitely improved. Been more of a serious guy, not much of a comedic guy who's always saying like, talk about, potato balls or grapefruits or suffering succotash. He's actually doing some real good promos that make him look like an actual person, not a cartoon character that Vince McMahon came up with in his mind. So, in all honesty, for those fans who are booing Roman Reigns, just stop, okay? He's actually doing a lot better than what he was doing earlier this year. And in all honesty, got to give him a chance. I think right now that he's not going to win at Roadblock. I'm not going to lie. I think that Kevin Owens is going to hold on to it till WrestleMania and probably face off against Finn Balor. Or there may be a different way in which they do it. But I'm going to get into that more during the end of the year. Fantasy predictions for WrestleMania. That episode will be coming up, like I said, at the end of the year. Consist of 12 matches that I think should happen at WrestleMania. So definitely check that out. So for those of you that have been really knocking on Roman Reigns because he's still going to be considered like the next guy, stop it. He's gotten a lot better. In all honesty, you guys, he has a better chance of turning heel than John Cena did the last 10 plus years that he's worked here. So I think that Roman Reigns is definitely going to be a bigger star, and I think he's going to do a lot better than what John Cena did in his last 10 years. So, hopefully. All right, so that is done with Roman Reigns. Now we go on to, of course, one of my favorite superstars, The Miz. Everybody is claiming that, he's now one of the greatest superstars of all time because ever since he did that whole promo on Talking Smack where he says, he's not a coward. He says Daniel Bryan's a coward because he chose not to wrestle anymore and not to go in some bingo halls and blah, 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 blah. And then he starts ripping off Daniel Bryan's moves. It gives me a major headache that they are pushing him to the moon just because they are taking advantage of this whole Daniel Bryan situation where he retired because of medical reasons. And a lot of people are saying like, oh no, they probably have some mutual respect for each other. That doesn't matter to me. This is one of those things where it was an emotional moment for Daniel Bryan earlier this year where he came out, he was tearing up, he was crying in the ring, and he was pouring his heart out at the fact that he was never going to wrestle again for the WWE. And he wanted nothing more than to do that. He wanted to come back so badly. He wanted to come back and entertain the fans. He wanted to come back and give them the best matches that they had. But then he realizes that his health needs to improve. And it needs to get better. And it reached a point where it didn't seem like that was going to happen. And I hated to see that, but at the same time, it's one of those things where you understood it. And again, you felt that emotion. And they're taking all that emotion, and Miz is just spitting in his face. It's just really, I just don't understand it. There's got to be a way to work around this, and I think I have an idea that would not only work with helping Daniel Bryan get his revenge on The Miz, but also establishing another star in the making. But right now, in the ring, I will admit that. Although, be it he has been stealing a lot of Daniel Bryan's moves, he has gotten a lot better in the ring since his wife came in the picture. So that is good to see. Although I really would I want these interferences to stop. I want to see The Miz break out on his own and really prove to be a great competitor. But right now, it just seems like they're just going to make him one of those heels that's going to continue to be a coward and continue to whine and bitch and complain. It's just like, dude, why don't you just win your match on your own and not have your wife and not have your spirit squad there to get involved and prove that you can be the best that you can be. Then you'll make a believer out of me. But I highly doubt that's going to happen. So, is this whole James Ellsworth situation. Why James Ellsworth? I just don't. Oh, jeez. So, this is kind of one of those things that's really gotten out of hand. Because this is a guy who, about 6 months ago, was just a jobber. He was just getting beaten down by Braun Strowman. He was getting destroyed. He was just looking like another one of those guys who wasn't going to make it as a big-time star. He was just going to be one of those guys just like, he's going to get beat, whatever. But then somehow the fans really just got behind him, and they just really thought, hey, this guy is a WWE superstar. This guy really deserves to be under contract. And he goes on to defeat AJ Styles not once, not twice, but 3 times. So in the process of trying to make this guy look like a superstar, he makes the world champion of SmackDown look like a chump. What is wrong with this picture here? In all honesty, and the fact is that he's still basically a jobber. He's basically this modernized version of Eugene who just somehow is getting over with the fans. And maybe he's like this generation's Mikey Whipwreck or something like that. I just don't get the hype behind James Ellsworth. And people are saying, oh, he's the greatest of all time. He's doing this. He's just awesome. No chin music. this guy is my hero. I just don't get him. In all honesty, you guys, I like the fact that they are putting him as a new star on SmackDown. SmackDown definitely needs some new stars. But in all honesty, they haven't done anything with him. He's just still this guy who can't really do anything except punches and a super kick, and that's it. He needs more offense. He needs to look more like an actual wrestler than looking like this guy who just came out of a high school and just decided, I want to be a pro wrestler. Because that's exactly what he is right now. At least to me. It's just, I just don't get it. Man, and he's got a chance to be the WWE World Champion for a second time. He had his first opportunity about a couple months ago, and AJ Styles got himself disqualified because Dean Ambrose got under his skin. So now there may be a chance that Daniel Ellsworth might be going on to face AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble for the title. Oh, gosh. Give me The Undertaker and AJ Styles, dude. Just don't. My gosh. Because here's the thing. It's like I said back at my last ride video podcast for The Undertaker going into WrestleMania. AJ Styles is a safe worker. As long as Undertaker doesn't strain himself out, as long as Undertaker doesn't do anything crazy, it should be fine. And it's not like he's going to win the title anyway. So, I know that, I think it was Joshua Yeager over at Pro Wrestling Off Topic was stating that he does not want to see The Undertaker win the title anytime soon because he's at that point in his career where he's just doesn't have anymore. And I do agree with that, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve one more title shot. Because that could be the same thing about Bill Goldberg. He's actually doing pretty good in the ring. Does he deserve one more title run? Well, not exactly. Would it be cool to see him do one more title shot? Oh, gosh, yeah. That'd be amazing. I think that people would really love to see Kevin Owens versus Goldberg. Honestly, now thinking about it, I really want to see it now. It's one of those things that just sounds good in your head, but would it seem good, in real life? That would be yet to be seen. So we'll have to see how well that goes. My gosh. Oh, and how about the fact that everybody is still under the impression that when they make their cheers known that somehow their superstar is going to get over. Just stop right there, okay? I understand that there are a lot of matches either on Raw or on SmackDown that can be just so boring and so tantalizingly dumb. But when you're doing stupid chants like that, especially during a cruiserweight matchup, these cruiserweights were basically putting their bodies and their souls on the line during the Cruiserweight Classic, and they're basically watered down on Raw, but still people find a reason to just be like, oh, let's cheer for this person, let's cheer for, Randy Savage, let's cheer for this, let's just make our voices known. Okay, I understand that you have freedom of speech, but there is why people abuse it so much. And it's because of stupid reasons like that. When two competitors are in the ring, you should be cheering. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing next time I go to a wrestling event. I'm going to start cheering for the people, the wrestling in the ring, because that is what we're here to see. We're not here to just chant random things like, like some people might say, like, boring, 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 like this match is boring. It's like, just shut up. I will come over there and I will smack you. The fact of the matter is these guys are putting their bodies on the line for our entertainment. At least we can do is show them a little bit of respect. It really bugs me nowadays that, I will say that a lot of people might say, well, you're kind of a hypocrite for saying John Cena sucks. Well, yeah, I do have a right to my opinion, and I still think that he's not exactly one of those guys that I'm going to get behind 100% anymore. But I can still respect the fact that he is one of those competitors who's put his body and his soul on the line for our entertainment. And he's done that for, almost 15 plus years now? That just shows you the kind of commitment that he has, and I can at least respect that. Although some of his other comments I probably don't. You know what? Let's get into that. John Cena is basically complaining that Bill Goldberg is getting such limited amount of time. And then